This episode of Settle the Score is sponsored by Sky Sports. Stream Sky Sports flexibly on Now. What you want, when you want, no fuss. Go to nowtv.com to start streaming Sky Sports today. Yes, people, welcome to Settle the Score. Let's look back at the biggest game of the weekend as Chelsea picked up all 3 points and beat Liverpool at the death. Esteval. There's so many things to go through. Moyes' Caicedo screamer. Maresca's red card. The Salah slump. What is going on with Mohamed Salah? Joining me this morning is Dave from the Chelsea Fancast and Stephen from Anything Liverpool. David, I'm going to kick off with you. I mean, watching it as a neutral on Saturday, it seemed to me that only really one team deserved to win it, and that was Chelsea.
Well, I'm obviously going to agree with that, aren't I? But, you know, what was fantastic was to see Chelsea. I mean, they went, obviously went a goal up with a great goal by Caicedo, and then Liverpool scored, and they did wobble a bit. But actually, for that last 15, 20 minutes, when Maresca brought on Gittins and Esteval, they just went for it. And I haven't seen that from a Chelsea team for far too long. They just absolutely went for it. They clearly wanted to win. And they really, really bossed and dominated Liverpool for those last 15, 20 minutes. I mean, of course, they left the back door open and it was really, really end to end. But I mean, we all left on Saturday really buoyed by that performance, but mainly because they really went for it and we saw some great football. Because we've been playing this backwards, sideways football for so long, which drives us up the wall. So everybody was pumped. I mean, not just because we've beaten Liverpool, who are the champions, which obviously, gets a lot of kudos. It was the manner in which they did it, and a last minute winner. I mean, everybody loves a last minute winner, apart from probably Stephen.
I love a last minute winner. That's how we won most of our games to begin
Well,
the
that's
season.
true, isn't it?
So, yeah, so everybody loves a last minute winner until you concede one. No, look,
Exactly.
it's Liverpool aren't firing on all cylinders at the moment, and that's completely fine and that's completely understandable considering the context around the season so far. Chelsea, just as you said, Dave, they just went for it in the last 15 minutes and they got their goal. They'd done what Liverpool had done to many teams earlier on in the season and just kept going and kept going and kept going until they got that last minute winner. And it was deserved. And I think if we came away with a point from that game, it would have been not so much undeserved, but maybe a little bit harsh on you guys. But yeah, it's a funny old one because when you have a summer like Liverpool had, which is unprecedented by our own history, that you spend nearly £500 million, people have certain expectations that you obviously need to click immediately and start pumping teams 5-0, which just isn't going to happen in real life. But no, the game at the weekend was good. I enjoyed it. It was just one of the. I'm probably one of the more level-headed fans that's not going to lose the run of myself. And I see social media calls for, is Arne Slot's job in trouble? And I'm like, you need to give your head a wobble if you think that man.
Seriously?
Oh
People
yeah,
say that?
yeah. Yes, absolutely. People are saying that if he loses to United, we need to ask a question. If we don't get a result against United, we need to ask a question. I genuinely feel like those people need to go outside
Well,
and just experience
Stephen,
sunlight.
you have to blame Chelsea for that, you see, because we set the trend in getting rid of managers really, really quickly. Now everybody's followed suit. I think that I do wonder if there is a legitimate question to ask, because a lot of people from the outside looking in were saying, well, Slot basically he won the title with Klopp's team. And now he's brought in a load of his own players, and it's not really working. So I can
Well,
understand why there would be some questions.
yeah, well, see, the argument to that is Klopp didn't win the league the season prior with the same team.
True.
So realistically, it was time for a refresh. And as it stands at the moment, I don't know why everybody's heads are falling out of their backsides because we're in the first week of October. We're 1 point off the top of the league, who are Arsenal, who are serial bottlers. We're not exactly firing on all
I
cylinders.
agree with that.
Oh, I agree with that as well.
We're not at 100% yet. And if you look at who we've played so far, Crystal Palace were on a 17-game unbeaten run. Newcastle wanted to murder us, considering we were nicking their best player. Arsenal was always going to be a tough game. Bournemouth are showing themselves to be a European spot contender. We played Burnley that put 10 men in their own box, and then we had a Merseyside derby, and we had to travel to Stamford Bridge, where we haven't won in about 5 years. I don't think you could have picked a harder start for a team that basically has half of its starting 11 changed.
Mm.
And if you told me at the start of the season that we'd have beaten Newcastle away, beaten Bournemouth, beaten Arsenal, beaten Everton at the Merseyside derby, beaten Atletico Madrid, who are also a horrible team to play against, and we're about 120 seconds away from nicking a point at Selhurst Park and nicking a point at Stamford Bridge, and a really dodgy penalty against Galatasaray, I must say. I would look, because Isak had the same thing happen to him against Chelsea, but no penalty was given. And it just shows now neither were penalties, but it just shows the inconsistency. And that's another 2 points that would have left us top of the league. So if you were to tell me that that was our situation at the start of October with another 7 months of football to play, I'd be over the moon. And we're not playing well.
Stephen, what's going on with Mohamed Salah? Obviously, we've mentioned Arne Slot there, but a lot of questions over Mohamed Salah on that right wing. People calling for him to be dropped. It almost seems as if since signing that contract that he isn't the same player. Of course, he scored in the opening game of the season, and also that penalty against Burnley as well. Is it a case of losing a yard of pace? What is it, in your opinion?
It's a multitude of things, and I think what a lot of people aren't really giving much context to, because at the end of the day, these players are human beings as well. As when we lost Diogo Jota earlier on in the summer through tragic circumstances. If you go back and watch the Bournemouth game, Salah's in tears at the end of the game, clapping to the fans. It's clearly affected an awful lot of the players. And Virgil van Dijk has said this as well, that we knew, considering the context of the summer, he didn't allude to any facts or any specifics, but he said we knew it since with the context of the summer that this season was going to be tough. I don't think Salah has lost a yard of pace. There's multiple problems that are happening for Salah currently at the moment. If you watch the games, he is oftentimes dribbling into two defenders. And the reason for that is he hasn't necessarily had a natural right back behind him at all times. Sometimes it's been Dominic Szoboszlai, but then if you watch him when he plays with Jeremy Frimpong or Connor Bradley, an attacking right back that likes to over and underlap, it gives him those one-on-one opportunities. That's how we got the goal to win the game where Rio Ngomoa scored the winner, because Bradley overlapped and went around. Similarly, against Atletico Madrid, Frimpong was over and underlapping and it drags the defender away. That's kind of the problem now. It's also getting used to the fact that he now has two very ball dominant strikers inside him, and I feel the signings of both Hugo Ekitike and Alexander Isak are a signal of intent of moving away from Mo Salah, because he's not going to be here forever, unfortunately. I would love if he could go to the Fountain of Youth and recapture his form. I'm sure everybody else would hate it, but we'd love it. But he's getting... It's just unfortunate that, and as well, we've played some of the toughest defenses so far, and a lot of them sit in low blocks. The way that I love to describe it to people that are a little bit worried about it is form is temporary, but class is permanent. That's more or less the way that I look at it. I'm not necessarily worried about him. I feel him lacking in performance means others have to step up, and thankfully we have an Alex. If we didn't have the likes of Alexander Isak and Hugo Ekitike and Cody Gakpo and Florian Wirtz, albeit two of those are still yet to properly fire, but Wirtz is similar to the team in a way that he's doing 90% of the things right, and it's that last 10% that needs to click. I'm not necessarily worried about Salah. It's more just this team is going to take time to gel. It's basically half a new starting 11, so there's no concerns for me in that.
Dave,
Yeah,
sorry, I'm just going to come in
right.
there. I think I know what you're probably going to say. You mentioned Florian Wirtz there, and we think of Moises Caicedo, who took a long time to sort of really fit into that Chelsea midfield. And a lot of people have been saying over social media and even in passing as well, that I'm not sure how much these people had to drink, but I think he's an absolutely phenomenal player. Questions whether he's the best midfielder in the Premier League. And I know on Sky that Jamie Redknapp said that Declan Rice is ahead of him. But is it proof in the pudding, from what you've seen at Moises Caicedo at Chelsea, that Liverpool fans just need to give Florian Wirtz time, which I imagine a lot of them do, that he's their player, for goodness sake?
Well, I mean, they're completely different kind of players, I think. I tell you who I would compare Wirtz with, and that's Havertz. You know, you can see. I mean, that flick he did. I mean, I was just talking about Salah a minute ago. I couldn't believe Salah missed those three chances.
The one time he uses his right foot, like the one
unbelievable. I mean, but that flick from Wirtz was amazing. But he reminds me a bit of Havertz, all very clever flicks, gets into great positions, but he hasn't quite got it. Now, we never saw anything better than that with Havertz at the end of the day. I mean, I know he scored the goal that won us the Champions League, but actually, when he got sold to Arsenal, there weren't too many Chelsea supporters who were that upset about it. So who knows? I mean, it's a very difficult league, the Premier League. I mean, we've had a lot of German players that have come over, and very few, if any of them, have absolutely nailed it. So I've got a suspicion that, I mean, like Nkunku, is the most recent example. He never really got going at Chelsea, and I think a lot of them really don't. So I think it's possibly down to the fact that the leagues are just very different in terms of quality. But who knows? As far as Caicedo's concerned, Carragher's wrong. He's much better than Declan Rice. I mean, he is phenomenal. I mean, we should know. Chelsea supporters kind of know a good defensive midfielder when they see one. We've had two of the best ever in Makelele and Kante, and I think already Caicedo's up there with them. And I mean, Kante. We used to say when we had Kante, it's like having, there are the Kante twins is what we called him, because he was everywhere. Wherever the ball was, he'd be in there to nip in and get it back. Caicedo's doing that, but he's got more to his game. I mean, I was thinking, after the game, I mean, the goals he scores, it's not the first 20-yard screamer he scored.
No.
I think he's got a bit. I don't know if you remember Michael Essien, but he was another brilliant midfielder for Chelsea. He used to score goals like that too. So I think Caicedo's got more to his game than Kante has, and I loved Kante, and certainly more than Makelele, who I think only scored one dodgy penalty on a rebound in his entire career for Chelsea. So, yeah, I think Caicedo's arguably the best defensive midfielder in the world right now.
Dave, I'm going to stick with you on this one, and Stephen, I want to know your thoughts as well. Enzo Maresca's red card. I mean, you're scoring in 90 plus 6, 90 plus 5, 90 plus 7, whatever. Jumps into the crowd, he runs the touchline. I mean, it's almost like he can't have passion anymore.
Yeah, it's rubbish, isn't it? I mean, football is just absolutely brilliant at shooting itself in the foot. I mean, one of the worst things that have happened in football in my lifetime is VAR, which is the ultimate passion killer. I just hate it. And this, refereeing pedantry. I mean, I kind of feel sorry for Taylor. I can't believe I'm saying that. But, he did follow the letter of the law. Well done, Stephen. We don't like Taylor down in our neck of the woods.
No,
I won't say on air what we say to him. But
no, nor will I.
But
it's not for young ears, shall we say?
No, it's not at all. But I mean, no, it's just really pedantic, wasn't it? I mean, look, I think it was lovely. Maresca, we haven't really warmed to him as a Chelsea manager. He's a bit arrogant. We're we're not quite sure about him tactically. It's been a lot of sideways, backwards. He seems to be a bit, one of these kind of philosophy Pep-like control managers, which we don't like. I mean, I was saying to Stephen earlier, we were just so loving the end-to-end attacking football that was being played, which is not really something we've seen a lot with Maresca. So he's had a hard time, and he's working quite hard to turn us around. But doing what he did on Saturday, I think will help. I mean, he just lost it, and he was one of us at that moment. And you want to see Chelsea fans in particular. We love passionate managers. I mean, we've had the likes of Conte, we've had Mourinho, Tuchel. We want to see that. I mean, Liverpool had Klopp for years, and it's the same kind of thing. You want to see that as a supporter. You want to see your manager feeling it like you do. And I loved it. I think it's brilliant, and I think it's pathetic he got a red card for it. But mate, I'd take that any day of the week, and I'm sure he would too.
Yeah, I'm completely agree with you. I seen no problem with it whatsoever. There is a level of, take the Liverpool and Atletico Madrid game where Diego Simeone is giving it large to all the Liverpool fans behind him, and then the Liverpool fans, when we scored the winner, start giving it large back, and he doesn't like that. If you can't give it, you can't take it. And we've been on the end of multiple last-minute winners. Klopp has run onto the pitch when Divock Origi put one past Pickford. There's been ones where Klopp has ran down the sideline and pulled his hamstring. There's Slot.
I remember that. That was fun.
Yeah, Slot has lost ahead of himself many times as well. As you said, it it to a degree it humanizes the manager. They're not just this guy behind the screen. It's like, oh, it looks like they're a fan as well, and it humanizes them to you. But as you said, Anthony Taylor kind of just, he had no choice but to send him off. That was just the letter.
But he did have a choice. He could have chosen not to.
Yeah, but it's the letter of the law. And then if somebody else, like this is the consistency that I was saying, like with VAR and with the penalty, obviously that Galatasaray got, and then Liverpool didn't get for similar contact. You just want consistency. I don't care if it's good or if it's bad. If it's consistent across the board with officiating, then you can't complain, and nobody can complain because everybody gets the same belt of the stick.
But Stephen, I'd add common sense to that as well.
Absolutely.
There's no common sense at all.
Yeah. No, none at all. But like the VAR itself is not the problem. It's the people running it.
Well, absolutely.
It works in every other sport. The technology works in every other sport and in most other leagues. The Bundesliga has it down to a T, but apparently just the Premier League.
Yeah, but even if they do, I hear what you're saying, and I agree with you. I think that the buffoons over here just don't know how to use it, because in the World Cups it doesn't seem so bad, and in the European competitions either. But you cannot deny that with the introduction of VAR, if you are in that stadium, you see a goal go in, you want to, it's about passion. I mean, that we pay a lot of money, and we pay it for moments like a goal going in the back of the net, and you just want to lose it, limbs all over the place. Then that's what we say. What you don't want is to go all of that and then go, oh, hang on, it's gone to VAR. It's just, it's killing football, man. It's not what it's supposed to be about.
I think if they used it correctly and were correct in their decisions and were consistent in their decisions, I think an awful lot of people would have less of a problem with it. The issue that I think an awful lot of people have short memories about is how bad the officiating was before VAR came in, and there was no justice to it to a degree. Take, for example, I know this might sound like possibly twisting a knife in a wound here, but Chelsea and Liverpool in the Champions League semi-final, that wasn't a goal. But VAR would have probably saved that. See, VAR probably would have saved that, is my point. And the problem comes with it is that every team gets the bad end of the stick when it comes to officiating, but VAR is there to sort of try and be a justice system to that. And it's just they're using it so poorly. And I had a conspiracy theory about it when it came in. I said that they're going to use it so poorly and use it so arseways that they are not, if they're going to have people calling for it to be scrapped. And lo and behold, this is what's happening.
Well, gents, I want to thank you so much for your time. Dave Chidgey there, and also Stephen from Anything Liverpool. Appreciate it on this Monday morning. This episode of Settle the Score is sponsored by Sky Sports. Stream Sky Sports flexibly on Now. What you want, when you want, no fuss. Go to nowtv.com to start streaming Sky Sports today.